This is the Spurs Postcast, your instant game reaction for the San Antonio Spurs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, sometimes in the cold days in December, you just need those nights where you show up to work, especially the holiday season, take care of business quick, easy, and get up on out of there and do it in less than 2 hours. That's the Spurs tonight and their quick little venture to Atlanta and do it in convincing fashion. Welcome into the Spurs Postcast right here on Locked On Spurs following a 126-98 win for San Antonio on the night. He, of course, is NBA champion Devin Brown, making the most of a bad internet situation. My name's Casey Viera. San Antonio in convincing fashion tonight, a 126-98 victory situation on the back of Victor. And my friend, it was quick, easy, got in, got out of there, won a game they're supposed to win, and now they're off to the District of Columbia.
So many ways I want to go with everything that you're saying with the quick, fast, and in a hurry. We're going to keep it with Spurs, okay? Went in there, did their job. Casey, let's talk more.
This is what you'll be talking about.
All right, so no Trae Young in this one tonight. He did return off of a back-to-back the latter of a back-to-back for San Antonio. He did return yesterday after essentially missing a month and a half of the season. So he was out. Atlanta only suited up 10 guys. The Spurs, as we know, they were playing the back end of a back-to-back in their own right, so they flew in on relatively tired legs. The perk of beating up on a Washington team like they did yesterday is that it was kind of a half day at the office, and they preserved some legs. Wemby only played 17 minutes, and he came off the bench again tonight in a first quarter that he checked in midway through, but it was largely, for the most part, the local guys, Stephon, Devin Vassell, combining for 21 in the first quarter. They go up by 13 after one quarter of play. Second quarter, 32-19. Second quarter, Victor gets going a little bit, and probably the most fluid that he has looked up to this point, at least through in the first half, at least settled in, I guess you could say. All Spurs in that second quarter. They go up by 24, and you're kind of, you know the script up to this point. You're like, all right, they have a big double-digit lead going into the half. It seems like they're past these third quarter woes, these things, and another game, which they were. They go +6 in the third, 9 more points for Victor in the third, and that was pretty much it. Spurs never trailed in this game, or I'll double check on that, but the game was never in doubt at any point. Victor, historic game. He did record a block today for the 100th consecutive game. That puts him only in the company with Patrick Ewing and Dikembe Mutombo to do that. Devin Vassell, 18. Stephon with 17 and 7 assists, as well as Spurs move to 20-7 on the season. Light day at the office on a quick trip to Atlanta, and can't really ask for much more than that, right?
Yeah, so, let's talk about just the great job of them being able to get a little bit of rest, Casey. That's not an easy flight going from San Antonio to Atlanta, getting in there late. Probably didn't hit the bed till about 3 a.m., 3:30. So, in situations like this happen in Orlando, the Spurs are 2-0. Not that we want to see them do that a lot more, but just a great job by them. No excuse. Like I said, San Antonio, no excuse basketball team, no excuse organization, able to get the job done tonight. The home cooking, Stephon and Devin got it going early, got it going often. And, obviously when you have someone like Victor coming off the bench, yeah, it's not bad. So I saw a lot of great things in the first half, and then the third quarter, it seems like they're talking about that a lot more. Coach Mitch is doing a great job, fixing those problems. And then, I got to see my boy McLovin in the fourth. So it was a good night. Good night.
Hey, you hit on the hometown guys, Castle and Vassell. Really, I guess you could say that was kind of the X factor this evening.
It's time to reveal who made the biggest under-the-radar impact with today's X Factor.
Yeah, like I said, 18 for Devin Vassell, knocking down 4 of his 9 threes. Stephon Castle with 17 and 7 assists. I should also mention Wemby played 21 minutes tonight, in case those are curious. You kind of had the luxury, at least in the early portion of your career, of not particularly having to worry about making the calls weeks ahead of time to get your family, your friends in the building. All it took was, going to the gate. Hey, I'd like to see one of the Spurs, 2 tickets. Come on down. You had them there. But you obviously didn't play your whole career in San Antonio. So
Right.
There were times that you did return back and you had to get tickets for the family and friends in attendance. What is that kind of like for a player to come back into their home city and that sense that, you want to go out there, you want to perform in front of your home fans, and especially when your teammates are aware of that too. Devin Vassell, along with Victor, led the team in field goal attempts tonight. They both had 15, 10 for Stephon Castles. What's that kind of thing like as a player when you go back into your hometown like that?
Well, everybody knows your field goal attempts go up, so they already knew that part of it. But Casey, in all honesty, you try and get that done the day before. You don't want to mess with that stuff on game day. You might get a couple of late calls or this or that. What I started doing earlier in my career is I would allow whoever and whenever I cut it off. I cut it off at 20. And that includes telling Miss Brown, the one that brought me in this world. No, we're cutting that thing off. We're cutting it off at 20. So those are some strange conversations with her back then. But you got to do it because, hey, my first couple of years, it kept coming. I'm talking about your pregame nap. Hey, need 2 tickets, blah, blah. Oh, no. Hey, so I cut it off the day before. But it's good. Those guys, from Atlanta, and Vassell just had his jersey retired not too long ago at his high school. So, oh man, and Castle's turned into a great player. So I don't want to know what their number is, Casey, but I cut mine off late in my career at 20 people. That was it.
I think they said Jacob said for Castle tonight, it was 30 something on the broadcast.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
All right. So after you do know, Casey, you go around the locker room, everybody gets 2. But that might put you at 8 because you got somebody else there too. So that might put you at 8. So you're on the hook for 22.
I tell you what, man, that's why you go out and you make a deep run in the Emirates Cup, right?
Oh no, they don't have that check yet, Casey. It's coming out of the other check.
Yeah, that was the Rookie of the Year check.
It's not the PGA Tour where you leave on Sunday, you walk out with the money.
I guess you're right. I guess you're right.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Just imagine if they won the 500K out of that.
Oh no, that was in that little necklace that they had, the little check.
Yeah, that was in the mixed medals. They were the ones that got it right then and there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Other notables from tonight: De'Aaron Fox, 8 points, 8 assists, 4-11 from the field, but again another abbreviated evening for him. Dylan Harper, after his back-to-back 20-point games, he has 6. Keldon Johnson, 13. I remember when these two teams played the first time, Atlanta shot upwards of 60% from the field. And I think what you kind of liked was that the defensive intensity was there. The Spurs held them right around 30% in that first quarter. And when you do that, it's going to work wonders. And, it was a fantastic job of setting that defense, leading to offense, and setting the tone the rest of the way.
Well, what it is you get the experience. Think about the last few games the Spurs have had, going back to the Knicks and OKC or things like that. Well, if Atlanta comes out there missing a couple shots and the Spurs execute on offense, which they did, next thing you know, the game's going to get out of hand. If you're Coach Mitch, you love that your team can come out and do that to a team like Atlanta. Because like you said, it was a lot closer here in San Antonio to come back and have that kind of game tonight. It was fun to see, Casey.
Yeah, Spurs moved to 20-7 now on the season. Their second 5-game win streak of the year, of course, started the year 5-0 and have only gone upwards since then as they move to 20-7 on the season as they head off to the District of Columbia this weekend. So we'll talk about that on the other side of the break and, picking up the games, taking care of business in the games that you're supposed to win, stacking those W's, especially when you got the big boys on deck. Got that on more right here on the Spurs Postcast on Locked On Spurs. As we know, part of the #1 podcast network, sports podcast network in all of the land. But before we talk about more hoops, let's talk about a few of our friends that drive this program. And perhaps celebratory eats on deck for you guys tonight. I got to talk to you about DoorDash if that's the way you're going. They have a way to keep fans in their bag throughout the whole season. Whether you're watching the highlights, tunnel fits, or your favorite player, DoorDash makes the entire season that much more fun because every player has their bag. With DoorDash, the fans have one too. Keeps your snacks stocked, your gear fresh, your watch party vibes absolutely on point. From tip-off to OT, stay in your bag on DoorDash. Get snacks, drinks, gear, and whatever gets you through the season or the evening, whatever it may be, delivered right to your door with DoorDash in your bag all season long. Hey, you ever feel like your money at the end of the month just kind of disappears? It happens fast. You got a few subscriptions here, you get a little ambitious with a purchase there, and then the numbers in your bank account, the math doesn't start mathing anymore. Rocket Money helps you get clarity, track every dollar, and stay in control of your finances because managing your money should not feel like a second job. Rocket Money does the heavy lifting for you so you can save more and stress less. You see all your spending on one dashboard. That's the biggest thing I like about it. I started using it recently. It makes everything easier to understand where those dollar signs are going, what they're all about. So take control of your finances and cancel your unwanted subscriptions with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/locked-on today. That's rocketmoney.com/locked-on. And finally, let's be real. A message for the business owners out there. No one gets into business, the idea of running and owning a business, for the joy of calculating taxes and tax withholdings and managing payroll spreadsheets. That's where Gusto comes in, takes the stress out of payroll, benefits, HR, so you can focus on running your business and supporting your team. It's an all-in-one remote-friendly platform, an HR platform that makes managing your team simple, quick, transparent, fast, all those things you want. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, paying employees, Gusto helps you do it all from one place. No hassle, no hidden fees. So try Gusto today at gusto.com/lockedonnba. Get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. 3 months of your first payroll, 3 months of free payroll, should say, at gusto.com/lockedonnba. Spurs winners tonight in A-Town, as they like to say. I believe they like to say that. I'm not particularly sure. For the sake of the conversation.
The ATL,
ATL.
A-Town, yeah.
Yeah. I've been down there. Been down there a couple times. Not familiar enough with it. Yes.
Hey, listen, I've been down there. The whole point of Atlantic City, I'm not going to get into the off the court part of it. The Braves and seeing Andrew Jones in center field makes Atlanta for me right there, Casey.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Chipper Jones over there. It's interesting you say that as a Yankee fan because those were some battles back in the day.
Those were some battles back in the day, but we had Derek Jeter, so we're good. It's all you need to know right there.
All right.
The captain.
Good call. Yeah, I know, right? The captain. On the topic of champions mindset, champions mentality, championship caliber teams, winning teams, they win the games that they're supposed to win. And the Spurs, past couple nights, have been winning the games that they're supposed to win. Beating a Washington team, beating an undermanned Atlanta Hawks team, and they got another undermanned, well, I don't want to say undermanned because they're fully loaded, healthy as far as I know, with the Washington Wizards. They're just struggling as a whole collectively to win basketball games. But long story short, these are the wins that you have to stack to, by default, give yourself that standing, literal and figurative standing in the conference. But to have a little bit more affordability if things don't go your way when you're playing some of these heavyweight teams like they're going to be playing once the Washington game, Oklahoma City twice, Cleveland coming into town, the Knicks on New Year's Eve, then of course the heat of the Western Conference slate the rest of the way. Do these games in your mind, what do they speak with for you, if anything at all, speak to some of these teams, these good teams, when they go in and they kind of, take care of business, shut the door, handle their business quick and get out of there?
Hey, as a coach on the coaching staff, what you're looking for, like a Coach Mitch or some of the other guys is, are we playing the correct way? Meaning defensively, right? Hey, listen, you're not going to always be able to knock down shots, Casey. Not all the time. You love it when those threes are going. You love it when Victor's going. You love it when certain guys are going. But one thing that you can bring every night is your hard hat, and you can bring your defense. So when they look at the film, they're going to see that not only are you getting one possession, two possessions, but what you want is You want 3 stops, 4 stops, 5 stops in a row and go from there. Now, if you're able to click offensively like they were tonight, after you get those stops, then you'll live with that, because there's going to be some nights, and we saw that fourth quarter against the Knicks, where those shots aren't going to go in, but on the other end, we have to stop the other team. They weren't able to do that against New York. These teams like this, Washington, Atlanta, Washington again, you're working on those things, that mindset, because after that, you got OKC 2 times in a row. Well, you know they're thinking the same exact thing you're thinking. So, but yeah, you just got to stack these games up right now, Casey.
Obviously, a lot of this, I mean, we're not saying anything we don't know, but this starts and goes with Victor. And I felt like tonight was probably the most fluid, comfortable, I think, that he looked. And the stat line speaks to it, obviously. But from a tone setting type of standpoint,
right
out there, and maybe that's unfair to say, because it's really hard to kind of set a tone when you're coming off the bench immediately.
Right.
But it felt, at least to me, on the eye test, and I'm interested to hear what he says post game about it, that this was the type of thing that was just, he looked comfortable, and he looked like the game. And maybe it's because he checked into the game the earliest that he's been, if I'm not mistaken, since he's been coming off the bench now, the 4th consecutive game. But it felt like, the assertiveness was there, and it had a real ripple effect the rest of the way.
All right, so I'm going to say this about these mega stars. There's only, in my mind, 2 or 3. When you talk about mega stars, I happen to play with one of them. I'm not going to tell you what team. If he was in this situation like this, Casey, you'll love this. He would have checked himself in. Like, if the other team goes on a run, he was that type of player. He'd check himself in. And no, he didn't play for the Spurs and wear number 21. This was another gentleman I play with. He's a little bit older now, but he would check himself in. So, to your point, it's got to be hard for Coach Mitch. I'm trying to make light of this situation. It's got to be hard for Coach Mitch. Like, you go out there and you're like trying to be this wonderful coach, but you got a megastar sitting on the bench. So, like, I know they keep doing this, but like you said, he checked in earlier. So Victor is getting a little anxious too. And, in all seriousness, we have to give Victor a lot of credit for what him and his family are going through. For him to even be out there the last couple of games is amazing to me. But in the same sense, hey, Victor's making the most of this. And like you said, he looked poised. He looked relaxed. He didn't look like he's got a lot of stuff going on off the court, which he does right now, Casey.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it might be one of those deals where basketball is just kind of a reprieve, kind of
the best medicine. The best medicine.
Yeah, the best medicine to get out of it. I mean, if I was in that spot, I know that would be it for me.
Absolutely.
And we haven't really kind of heard what the next, not that we're particularly owed that answer, but what that plan is going to be, whether he's going to miss extended time or something like that. Not that it's any of our business whatsoever to know.
Right.
But he looked good. And I was interesting. I thought it was interesting because there was never really a question as to whether he was going to play this game on the second of a back-to-back, which I thought was pretty interesting too, because usually in these types of things, you kind of get that word ahead of time, but there was never any doubt. So it was and honestly, that kind of goes back to, though, of taking care of business like they did against Washington.
Hey,
and play 17 minutes. Yeah.
Hey, Casey, and look, hey, what did I tell you before? Hey, we get to Atlanta, once we get to the breakfast meeting in the morning and we get our nap and we're going to the bus right before the game, we all say it. Hey, we're not worried about what they got going on over there, KP and Trae Young on extended vacations. We got to play this game, take care of this, and get out of here.
And that's will be the case, as now for them, it's off to the District of Columbia before heading back home for those 2 big Oklahoma City games. Obviously, we have a player of the game to talk about, so you have a pretty good idea where we're going with this.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Simple. Show up, take care of business, do something only 2 other players have done, and hit 100 blocks or block a shot in 100 consecutive games, and that was Victor Wembanyama tonight.
Big Vic, we got to give him. Hey, we got to give him his flowers, Casey. We can sit up here and talk about him all night long. Played excellent tonight, like you said. Played back to back. Big on him, on his part. Congratulations, to that young man, reaching history. Only 2 other players have done it. So Victor, he's going to set a lot of more records. Congratulations tonight, and he'll get ready for DC.
Yeah, in case you're curious at home, 145 games is the record for Patrick Ewing, 116 to Mutombo. So he got half a season to catch Ewing. Mutombo, he could probably catch them both.
Yeah, hey, listen, make sure some of the home games, because, I played in Utah, so I talked to some people in Utah. That 18,000 assists, there were some assists gave to John Stockton on those assists. That's all I'm going to say, Casey.
That's all he's going to say, and honestly, that's all I'm going to say, because I usually don't have a witty statement after he follows up with a witty one to call it a night. So that's a good place to leave it. Hey, next time we get together, it's going to be, of course, after the Wizards game on Sunday. Sunday, 6 o'clock tip, of course, with them out there on the East Coast. And we'll be there once that thing goes final, just like we are every single night, hopefully talking about a San Antonio Spurs victory, much like we are doing tonight. And as always, as we end every one of these get-togethers, got to shout you guys, the viewers at home. You're the ones who make all this happen. You're the ones who make all this possible. You're the ones that make all this fun. And we're enjoying every minute of it here on the Spurs Postcast, the squad show. Speaking for Jeff, he's not here. But for him on the title pod as well, you're the ones that drive Locked On Spurs. So we love the engagement, the fun that you guys are having with us. So San Antonio winners tonight, a 126-98 dub over the undermanned Atlanta Hawks. But you're taking care of business and you do it about as good as fashion as you could. So for my dear friend, Mr. NBA champion Devin Brown, I'm Casey Viera. We'll talk to you guys on Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night.